Good morning. It's the Saints, man. It's Saturday, the 5th of July. We're in July, and it's 8:30 in the morning. And I thought I'd come outside because it's wife's in the house and clattering and banging. I don't know how the sound's going to come out of this, but we'll see. Um, yeah, back from holiday. Had a great week in Crete. Did absolutely fuck all, nothing. Just lazed, all inclusive. Sun lounger, pool, eat, lots of drink, repeat. Well, sleep, obviously. Repeat. 7 days. Yeah. We were in a place called Rathno in Crete. Beautiful. The Grand Rimonde Spa and well, whatever. It was in the mountains. Gorgeous. Anyway, this week, obviously back to work. And I've had a good week. Had a really good week, actually. First day, Monday, first of all, fuel prices through the roof. It's obviously to do with the bloody Middle East and all this crap, but yeah, it's just as cheap at the moment for me to use. If I use supermarket fuel, it would be about a penny cheaper using my own card. If I use Shell, SOBP, it's probably cheaper using a fuel card. But let's go to Monday. Monday was a really busy day. Um, I did a small job to start with to Milton Keynes, and that was a short wheelbase job, and didn't take long at all. Nice and easy. It was 9 boxes. They would have gone on a small van, but hey. And then I took a job Milton Keynes to Cardiff. Um, Bit of a risk because it was later in the day, and I thought could have problems here. And got the one down to Cardiff delivered. That was okay, and there was a job on there straight away, short wheelbase delivering the next morning to Telford from Pontypridd. Yeah, I mean, I just got someone come on my screen. You won't see that. Yeah, from Pontypridd up to Telford, deliver the next morning, which made a really, really good day. And hotel, I had to book a hotel because it was a short wheelbase job, and I had a big pallet on the back, so there's no way I could sleep in the van, and it was too hot. It was baking hot. And I booked a B&B in Telford. Nice little B&B. Only 4 rooms she had. The main thing for me, she had off-road parking, and I parked the van right, I backed it up against a wall, so no one's going to get in the back, not without moving the van. And that was 45 quid a room, including a massive breakfast. Huge English fryer. Lovely. So well worth it. And it was a fantastic day's earnings because I had 2 long jobs, 1 short job, and they were all short wheelbase jobs, not small van. Anyway, Tuesday we delivered Telford. We had to be delivered at 9 o'clock, and that got delivered no problem at all. And I managed to get a job, and it took a while. weren't picking up till half 11. Telford to Northampton, absolutely super. And that was really all I did, apart from I did pick up in Northampton at 6 o'clock a monitor to go down for Wednesday morning to Fareham. So we had a really short day Tuesday, 5.5 hours, which was nice. I was home, done, 2 o'clock. I nipped out 3 mile down the road to pick up the monitor, brought it home. So short day Tuesday. Obviously Wednesday, a job down to Fareham. Well, it's Whiteley. I've done it numerous times. You have to be there for 9, so it was a 5:30, 6 o'clock start in the morning, which is fine. And I managed to get a job, believe it or not, from Havant, 12 miles away, to Brixworth, which is about 7, 8 miles north of Northampton. Couldn't believe it. Fantastic. And we was done Wednesday, 1:45, finished. And good money on the day. Target. That's what you want. They were both small van jobs, but they still paid pretty good money. That was okay. Thursday, I'd got a job already for my good friend James at Freddie Fletcher. Check his YouTube channel. And it was from Wellingborough up to no, it wasn't Stockport. It was Doncaster, Wellingborough to Doncaster. That was 2 small boxes, no problem at all. And then I got a job. There wasn't much around Doncaster. It was sort of to the east of Doncaster. And then a job come on from Gainsborough to St Helens. and it's a company who I do work for, and not on the CX, but they'd put it on the CX. But I am got a app through their system, and I put it through the CX, but they got in touch with me, said we'll put it on the app for you. Brilliant, and it was a short wheelbase van job. That got me to St Helens on a Thursday, but it was, I don't know, it's about 1 o'clock, 1:30. It's a good area because it's around Warrington, Widnes. It's a really good sort of northwest area. And I did get a job pretty much within half an hour, and it weren't picking up till 3 o'clock. And it was going from Skelmersdale right down to Welwyn Garden City to be delivered Friday morning. Spot on. I'm not going to lie, I went in quite cheap on that one, but it got me down to Northampton. So I got home in bed, and I was only 50 miles away, Welwyn Garden City. Got to be delivered between 8 and 9 the next morning, which is Friday. And it was. I got there for 8 o'clock Friday morning. Uh, Delivered that, and I'm target. I'm done target. I'm over target. Just a matter of coming home with a small job. And I had an interesting conversation. I put a price on a job. I'm going to be careful with my words here because I'm not going to incriminate or name the shipper. Um, but I quoted on a job from Letchworth to a place near Oxford, and it was 77 miles, small van job, and I was 10 miles from it. Well, it was more than that. It was about 12 miles from it. About 90 all in. So I quoted £70, and I was parked in Morrison's in Welwyn Garden City, and I got a phone call, and the conversation was quite. It wasn't abrupt. That's not quite the word. It wasn't. Didn't seem friendly. It was. You quoted on our job. Yep, I can be there. And then I just said, "Yeah, I can be there in 20 minutes." I said, "Great." I said, "If you send it over, I can." No, so if you send it over, I can be there in 20 minutes. I'm just fueled up, ready to go. They said, "Great, we can send it over at £60." And I'm like, I quoted 70. So you must have. Sorry, and the lady said, "Yes, but we've only got 60 in it. So, you need to come down." That's what she said. "You need to come down and I can send it over." And I went, "I don't need to come down. I'm quoted 70." Then I explained why I quoted 70. I quoted 70 because I'm 12 miles away from it. I know it's a small van job, but I'm in a short wheelbase van. So that's the reason. And also, you've got some negative feedbacks, quite a few. I want to say quite a few, half a dozen. And I said, so I'm a little bit apprehensive. She wasn't very pleased when I said that. And I says, "No problem." I says, "No problem." I says, "But I'm not coming down from 70." I says, "But it's not a problem. Don't worry. There's lots going on Friday. I'll look at something else." I'll put the phone down. So that's how that finished. And I just thought the way she said, "You need to come down to get the job." No, I don't need to. We're subcontractors. Whatever you quote is what I'm prepared to do it at. I very, very, very rarely negotiate. Whatever price I put on it, that's the price I want. If it's a long job and it's 250 quid, and they say, "Can you come down to 240?" I may go 245 if I think it's worth my while doing. But anyway, that conversation finished. And I'm so glad I didn't get the job because I got a job from Welwyn Garden City, half a mile from where I was, going up to Newmarket. And lovely shipper, completely opposite attitude, over the moon. And I got over £1 a mile for a small van job. Because Newmarket's not the best area, I put slightly more on the mileage, and she very happy. Picked the item up in Welling. It was going to be 5 minutes because I was only 5 minutes away. And he actually said, "Blimey, you're quick." He said, "We could." He said, "Do you want to get yourself a cup of tea?" He said, "It's going to be 5 minutes." And he was lovely bloke, and it was. Loaded a pallet on up to Newmarket. The pallet come off in seconds, and believe it or not, I thought, well, that's it. I'm well over target. I can drive home from Newmarket. And I looked at the feed, just have a quick look, and there was a job on there from Cambridge to Milton Keynes. It's virtually my journey home. And it was with the shipper that had asked me to come down on price which I'd refused. I said no. So we ended a little bit, probably not best of friends. And so I thought, you know what, I'll just put a, so I put £1 a mile on it, a small van job, £1 a mile. Phone call went instantly, but it was a different person. It was it was a man, a male. It was a male. It was a man. How quick can you get to Cambridge? I said, I am literally 15 minutes away. And he said, brilliant, I'll send it straight over at £1 a mile. Same thing, small van job. It was an envelope, well, an A4 padded envelope, and I took it to a solicitor's in Milton Keynes. So they wouldn't pay me £70 for 77 miles plus the 12 miles I got to get there, and then all of a sudden they're paying £1 a mile. There you go. So we did it. Yeah, not to turn the work down. I've got nothing against them. We did it, and that got me to Milton Keynes, and that was it. That was my week. I finished at Milton Keynes. So, and Friday was a short day. It's only 6.5 hour day because I just went Welling Garden City. Welling Garden City is in Newmarket, Cambridge, Cambridge, Milton Keynes, home. So, a good week, a really good week. Did 1,340 miles, which is pretty average. Sometimes I do 1,500 if I'm doing to Scotland or a bit further. I only did 42 hours duty. That's a normal week for a lot of people. 8 hours, 8 and a bit hours a day. 33 hours and 3/4 driving. My driving now, I can see it on the computer on the Vito, which is called Penny. So Penny Vito, it come up. It tells you how much you've driven, how many hours you've driven each day. I can do it very accurately. And my money was 1,072 before, and then you add 20%, which come at 1286.40. That man gets his 10% flat rate, 128.64, leaves me with 1157.76. Even taking off the 45 quid for the hotel, it's 1112. It's great. Average per day is 225. 220, so what? 225 per day. That's a good week. And my pence per mile, I've noticed this since the short wheelbase jobs have started coming in. I'm up to 86 pence every single mile. And I did have some dead mileage. I had some dead mileage on Monday. I had some dead mileage between jobs. Quite a bit of dead mileage on Thursday, going Doncaster, Gainsborough, up to St Helens to Scare. You know, there was quite a distance between the jobs, and it was okay. Obviously, Milton Keynes home, so really good, really pleased with that. So it's a good week. I've already got a job. I've got a day's job booked in Monday. I'm actually travelling to Huntingdon, and I'm going down to Salisbury, and it's a wait and return back to Huntingdon, and I've got a day's money for that. Well over target, and it's just straight there, taking some up, swapping it over, bringing some up back. So Monday's already sorted. So really happy. I got home early yesterday afternoon. My wife picked up the wheel arch covers, the plywood, which I've fitted. I'll do a little video next week showing the back of my van, how it's set up. I'm still not finished with it. I'm going to put some shelves on top of the wheel arches, one side, to put a few bits in, like cleaning stuff and just dustpan stuff I want storing properly. But it looks really neat. I'm really pleased with it. The wheel arch covers, both sides, were 40 quid, and they'd already put together, and I just had to screw them in. He provided all the attachments. Oh, we're a bit windy. Anyway, have a great weekend. Fuel prices are still shit next week, so I've got mine come through, and I'll speak to you next week.